here, okay? Again, I can take this like C grip here under the thigh, push the knee towards the ground. I'm gonna really dive under, like drop my knees, get as low as possible, come around. If initially I'm having a hard time making this grip, what I can do, this leg, if we move on this side for me. This leg, all I have to do is make sure this leg is secure. So how do I do that? I can just kind of cover his knee with my knee, make a quick switch, and then we can go back to making that grip, okay? Once I make this grip, palm up, right? Look, I'm gonna come up on my toes. I really wanna focus on putting all of my weight on my right shoulder into his hamstring, his left hamstring. And I want to think like I'm trying to drive this knee towards his face pretty much. That's the idea. And look, I don't wanna kind of skip and run, okay? I wanna make sure that he feels all of the weight throughout the entire time that I'm passing. Okay, this is one of those passes where it has to feel quite uncomfortable for your partner and it feels like they just want you to like pass. They're basically saying that thing and just pass already. Okay, so don't skip. Make sure your partner feels all of your weight when you're doing this. Okay guys, so again, one more time. Pushing on the knee, I like to go under here, get under. If I can make that grip right away, great. If not, control the knee with your legs, feed, go back to this, okay? If when we do this, so for the next drill, we're gonna do this. Let's say we passed it off and he starts taking his leg out. The most important thing is that my hand ends up on this side of his leg. If my hand is on this side of his leg, I'm gonna get triangled. So if you feel like, oh, the person was able to take this leg out, make sure your hand is on this side of the leg, okay? Elbow, look at my elbow, nice and tucked in. Once I've done this, I'm gonna come up on my toes, drive into him, make a grip on the pant. Okay, pant, the gi skirt, whatever, okay? Grab something. I'm gonna start pulling up, walk, 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 till I get to the side. Okay, knees in, block the hip, hug the head, control. All right, guys, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Actually, what I prefer is you come up on your toes already and drive your weight into her. Take your hand off, yeah, and then lift it. Yes, and then start walking. So this part is super important that as you're walking to the side, you're looking to go chest to chest.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Kaisa, do you mind if I do it to you?
No, go ahead.
It's gonna feel a little bit heavy, yeah?
That's okay.
Okay, so, bam, bam, push to the floor, drop. Let's say I made the grip here. I was able to make the grip. She brings that leg out, put my knee to the floor. Look, I'm gonna come up right away, putting all my weight here. Switching. Now I'm gonna start walking over. As I'm walking, look, I'm already lifting my head so that the leg has space to slide across my chest. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
And
you're
you feel-
keeping your elbow pretty much
I'm
like
keeping
this.
my elbow
because
there.
we were doing the elbow down.
Well, I want
Towards the hip.
you to try and bring it towards the mat here.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah?
Go ahead.
So you know it's summertime when the ice cream shop on that corner starts to open up. Then you know Swedish summer's here. Or at least on its way. So I just picked up the kids from school. They're having a little, like, we call it melanmol. It's like sort of snack time, pre-dinner snack time, and they're having yogurt. Yeah. So what I want to talk about was, what's it like to work with your passion or what you love, which in my case is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. First off, it's amazing. It's great to work with what I love. I get to train every day. I get to be on the mat. It's super fulfilling to watch people grow. One of my favorite things about Jiu-Jitsu has always been teaching. I started teaching as a blue belt 14 years ago. So I started with kids classes, and then I eventually worked my way up to adult classes. And it's really great to see people evolve and grow and become better versions of themselves through jiu-jitsu, and to have a little part of that is really fulfilling. But when you work with what you love, it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be work. There's a lot of things about starting a gym in Sweden that is very different from starting a gym in the Philippines or in the US. There are certain obstacles that you have to overcome as a business that just doesn't exist in Asia or in the United States. Number one, the main thing being the förening kind of culture. So what a förening is, it's basically a non-profit club. And they have förenings for everything, for rowing clubs, chess clubs, dance clubs, football clubs, anything a hobby or sports related most likely has a förening. And what that is a non-profit club where people work together and organize training or events or anything to do with their given craft. So in our case, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. One of the main gyms here, they're a förening that's been a while forever, and they basically charge, if I'm not mistaken, it might be a bit different now, but they were charging 160 euros for 6 months of training. It's going to be different because a lot of the people that teach in these clubs are people who don't do it necessarily for a living. So they teach on their free time. It's basically their contribution to the club. And the idea is it's supposed to make sports or anything really that people want to do accessible, which is a great idea, and I love the idea of having that as an option. But what makes it difficult is, as somebody like me who's a business owner and who's trying to live off of it, that's something that, number one, you have to compete with, and price-wise, you'll never be able to compete with them. Förenings often get spaces for a much better deal. They get a lot of money from the municipality for training kids, for training certain people under a certain age, and they're meant to spend that on themselves. So a lot of times they use that to pay their rent, or if they have a surplus amount of money or extra amount of money, they'll put that into other things like new mats or new whatever. And as a business, we don't have that luxury, right? We have to pay a different kind of tax. We have to, somebody has to be there all the time, which in my case is me. I have to be there a lot at the gym because you're charging much higher than the rest of, than the förening. You have to kind of step up your game in terms of services, how you're teaching and stuff like that. So it's really hard, and I think at the end of the day as well, there are some people who really do just prefer the förening. It's a little bit more laid back. Not that my gym isn't laid back, but the idea of a förening is kind of, just go in, something a little bit chill. You just want to hang out, train, nothing too serious. Or as opposed to my gym, I think a lot of people think of us as like, okay, you come in, it's a little bit more organized, it's a little bit more structured, and they think that that kind of scares people. And I think that was the biggest thing. I thought that, all right, if I present this, if I, you know, offer jiu-jitsu in a way where it's structured, organized, kind of the way that I would like to have for a school if I was going to pay money to train at a jiu-jitsu school, I thought that people would be, you know, really into that idea. But as time goes by, it feels like that's kind of intimidating for some people, which I totally understand as well. Yeah, it's so much harder to make a living out here. So the gym hasn't been doing as well as I'd hope. It's been a really like tiring year and a half, just grinding, kind of constantly worrying about, all right, how's the expenses going to be, how's the economy of the gym. Inflation has affected us a lot, so the rent has gone up and stuff like that. That's really made it quite difficult, and that's taken away. Where was I? As I was saying, that's kind of taken a bit of the passion away from me for jiu-jitsu, and it's kind of really, you know, jiu-jitsu's never really been like a source of stress for me, even when I was training hard, even when I was forcing myself to compete, because I was never a natural competitor. It was always something that I was like so nervous to do, and I really didn't start to feel comfortable doing it until like the higher belts, brown belt, even black belt. So it was never really a source of stress, but as of lately it kind of has been. Yeah, I've had times where I just, you know, didn't feel like coming to training, and you know, when you own a gym, people are looking forward to training with you, and it's not an option. You know, you got to show up for people. And yeah, it's just been kind of tough. I think it's looking up. I've got some plans on how to kind of get things going into the right direction, and I feel like the year and a half we've managed to kind of build a brand and build a reputation in the city about, you know, how good the jiu-jitsu is and how nice the vibe is and how cool the culture is and the people are. And I'm hoping that that's something that really carries us forward from here on out. And yeah. And that's why when I do these vlogs, I kind of don't want to focus so much on jiu-jitsu all the time, because I do have other interests and I do have other stuff that I want to explore and that I want to get into, and I don't want to document my work all the time. Even though it's not always work for me, you know, I do enjoy training still. I do love hanging out with the people at the gym, and a lot of those guys are my friends, but, you know, there's another side of my life that, you know, I myself would like to spend more time doing or spend more time involved with. So yeah, that's it, man. It's great to do what you love for a living, but at some point it will start to feel like work, and that's not to say I've lost love for jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu so much. I think I love it more than I've ever had. And the reason why I feel I know that is because jiu-jitsu has never been something that I had to really make work. It's always been something that I've really enjoyed, and that's always been there as something that I love to do. And now I can feel that even though it's work and it's a responsibility and a little bit of an obligation for me, I still wake up in the morning thinking, all right, man, I hope I get some good training in today. So, yeah. My hip, it's still a bit stiff. The lower back pain is kind of gone. I've been on ibuprofen for about 4 days now, but it's getting better. Just a little bit of tightness in the hip, but I think that's gonna be all right. I'm gonna roll a little bit lighter. Try not to go with the big boys too much. I did a good job of avoiding that on Saturday, and maybe this week take it easy. Do a little bit more skateboarding than hard sparring, and hopefully by the end of the week it'll be good to go. I plan on visiting All Star on Thursday with some of the other black belts. Say what's up to Fin Fu. I haven't seen him in a while, and it'd be nice to go out there and just kick it and train with him. So, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with the kids now. Us.